Hey everyone, welcome to the Designer Show. I'm Dan Baumann. I guess they call me your host, and I'm on with Chelly and Robin. Hey, you guys, how you doing today?
Hi.
Great. How are you?
All right,
Great,
thanks.
Dan.
Hey, thanks for joining us. I see people are starting to log in, so cool. Welcome to the broadcast. Be sure to chime in with your name, maybe your location, where you're at. Would love to find out a little bit of information about who's watching the show. So please join us. And today John's not going to be here today, so he's off traveling again. He's on the road a lot these days, so he's just kind of said, "Yeah, you can handle it." So we'll miss him today, but maybe he'll pop in. He's been invited, so you never know. So anyway, Robin, you've been on the show before, and Chelly, you're new, and thanks for being here. So we're going to get started in just a minute. Before we get started, I'd just like to let everybody know that on the show page where you're watching this live, you'll be able to check out you can check out Robin and Chelly's little bit of a bio. And if you want to learn more about them, there are links below here where you can learn more about Robin, browse her projects on Houzz, and you can contact her from this page, and same with Chelly. So Chelly, you can learn more about her and browse your projects on Houzz. You both have some really nice projects on Houzz, so it's really fun to go look at some of the work that you guys done. But before we get into that, I just want to let everybody know that the Mastering Chief Architect course is still going on. We're going to be on session 6 this next week. We just finished session 5 out of 15 sessions. So we meet once a week for, I say 90 minutes, but it never goes 90 minutes. We always go a couple hours. So always plan more time. So you can learn more about the Mastering Chief course right here. I would love to have you as part of that. It's really been a lot of fun. I'm working on some new ways of showing the training, and I'll get into that another time, but really having a good time setting up some new ways of teaching chief architects. So we'd love to have you in there. And again, the Pro Academy, where we got, I think there's over 60 different sessions in there right now with a bunch of other things. And plus you get access to my templates. Would love to have you there. So guys, there you go. So that's chiefexpertsacademy.com, by the way. All right, so let's get to the show. The trends in the kitchen and bath world. And, as I met with Robin and we talked about, design and kitchen design, and Robin's going to be doing some courses on how to do kitchen design with Chief and talking about everything that goes into that, because you're kind of good in the kitchen and bath industry, NKBA. You've been involved with that a long time. You've been teaching kitchens and baths for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
How to draw them. You teach at a local school.
I teach
technical school.
Yeah, no, it's actually Portland Community College. That's right. So we offer a 2-year program in building design, in interior design, and kitchen and bath planning. We have construction management programs. We're actually an NKBA supported program, so we're pretty well known. It's a good program.
That is cool. Yeah, it sounds like it from what you told me, and looking at the program on the school site, it looks like a really nice program. Yeah. And Chelly, you've been in this industry for quite a while yourself. So tell me a little bit about how you got started in design.
It's a second career for me. I used to be in high-tech sales and marketing. And in about the year 2000, I attended a community college, similar to PCC, but down in California, in Saratoga, California, an interior design. And it was a second degree for me as well. So I had a degree in clinical psychology.
It was interesting how you told me how you found out about the interior design world.
Oh, yeah. Well, I started out with a kind of an art background, and then ended up in business for practical reasons, and then decided that wasn't for me. But I was trying to figure out what my career change would be, and I was actually going to the community college to take a traffic school for a speeding ticket that I had gotten, and I was it was being held in an auditorium that was in the interior design building. And so I was walking down the hall and I'm like, what is this? Oh, look at this. This looks awesome. This is what I could do. So I was looking for something where I could be artistic and use my business skills.
That's
and
cool.
So I went back to school and completely changed. And I was lucky because I was mature and I had some experience. So when I went into the industry, I mean, I don't know if this was lucky or not, but I kind of skipped a few steps. So I had interned with a pretty prominent firm down in the Bay Area, but I moved to Portland and got a job at the biggest design build firm as a design consultant immediately because of my sales experience, I think. So I kind of jumped into the deep end. And that's where I met Robin.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah. But since then, I've worked for some design build firms, a couple of others, and then finally started my own design-only business about 4 years ago.
Nice. So so you've been doing it a while. And you were, at the time, before the design, you were in technology. You were selling a few technology items. I guess you were in charge of a few people taking care of that.
Yeah, I had a staff of 26 people I was managing, and I oversaw like $100 million in sales.
Okay.
It was just totally different, very stressful, but it was supply chain. So in a way, there's some similar things like understanding reps and distributors and all that kind of stuff.
You had to manage, put it all together, kind of like you're doing now, putting it all together. So that's cool. That is really awesome. Yeah, it's fun to hear people's stories about how they got into these things and you got into this industry. And yeah, thanks for sharing that with us. So Robin, why don't let's talk a little bit about the trends. So you've got a bit of a slideshow that you put together with some items.
Shelly and I did. Do I need to reshare my screen?
Oops.
No.
Sorry. You did turn it off. So turn it back on. And
there you go.
I'll bring it up. There you go.
Okay.
Yep. So there we go.
So I'm just going to show you a few images, and then Shelly and I will chat about them.
Yeah.
So this is just some of the images that we have. So
you guys on the call would love to hear your feedback, things that you've been noticing. Please get involved. We'd love to have your input.
So I think Shelly and I both have an opinion about trends, and I think that we need to consider trends not just like, how do I want to say this? Is like, you shouldn't not adopt a trend based on something that somebody says is a big deal. It should be, how does it fit into your life? So for example, this kitchen, the client wanted a white kitchen, wanted some white in their kitchen. It's a mid-century home, and we opened up the space from a galley kitchen into the dining area. And but we still wanted to keep some separation. So we were trying to bring up this open kitchen concept, which Shelly and I are going to talk about a lot in a little while. But I'm a big believer in being practical. So by looking at the way my client lives in their home, they're a busy household and they have a lot going on. So we really talked about, instead of doing white painted cabinets, we did laminate cabinets. And so the white is not wood or not painted at all. It's a laminate. And it also has a little bit of a texture. I wish I could have a closer image for you, but it actually has a texture that looks like concrete. So easy to maintain, but adds a little bit of interest to it. This is something that I try to travel to Europe once a year to go to like the latest shows. And a few years ago, well, the last Euro Cucina they had, it's in Milan every other year on the odd year. And it's all like the latest, coolest trends in Europe. And they're really big on using laminates, but not just plain white Wilson Art laminate. It's all textured. It has embossed images in it, or it's just these beautiful things. So that's what we're seeing in this image. You're definitely seeing textured backsplashes that are not just the plain white subway. Those are definitely coming in play. Quartz countertops, huge, right? I mean, I think quartz are going to be the thing just for ease of maintenance, right?
How long have quartz countertops been in the industry? How long have they been on the market? Any idea?
I'm going to say the late 90s. Okay. Silestone was the first one that came out. Yeah. I'm actually working on it. That sounds about right.
But I would say that granite was still really popular probably until around the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say that? And even corian was available back then.
Yeah, I remember corian back in the early days. I got in remodeling back a long time ago. And I remember the corian. We would do corian tub surrounds and things like that. And there wasn't much else out there. And then it started really taking off like crazy, the solid surface materials. So you still see much marble going into these granite or marble, slab type things?
Yes, but not as, I think people want. So what's happened with quartz is it used to just be this speckled thing. It was just speckly and people didn't love it. And I think what happened in quartz is companies like Caesarstone and Cambria and Cosentino started learning how to put texture and patterning in it to start making it look more like stone. And that's where people started moving more towards quartz because of ease of maintenance. You can clean it with pretty much anything. You can't put hot things on it, though. That is something that you need to make sure that you don't put hot things on it because it's still a product that can crack under heat.
You can warm product, but not super hot.
Right.
Yeah, nothing. Yeah. And you don't have to be meticulous about it. You just need to put like a towel down or something and then put something hot on it. You just don't want that hot contact. But the fact that it's easy to maintain is, I think, what people like. I mean, people are busy. But marble and granite, we're still seeing that. We're still definitely doing it. I mean, Chelly has a picture you're going to see in a little while that it's going to blow your mind. It's like the most amazing black granite. Oh my God. I just love it.
What I'm seeing is super popular still, and it has been for a while, is a quartz material that looks like marble. And the manufacturers are responding. They're getting better. It used to be just sort of a hint to marble, but some of them are looking really, really good these days. And it's still super popular material because I think I'm getting a few requests for darker countertops, but most people are saying, oh, I want light. And of course, we're in the Pacific Northwest, so people are trying to brighten things up a little bit.
Yeah, and if you guys around the country, if you've got trends going on in your areas for these types of things, let it, put them in the chat. I'd love to know what you guys have to say about that. What's the thing about marble and real marble and granite? Why is it so? You got to maintain it more. What do you have to do to maintain that?
It's a natural product, so it is porous, and you need to seal it occasionally. So. Depending on the wear and tear. Granite is a little more durable, or a lot more durable than marble, but marble can etch, and you can't like have a margarita party and not clean up the lime juice because it'll etch it. So if you're going to do marble, I always recommend to my clients that they do a honed marble because it's going to end up looking honed anyway.
Absolutely. Well, and I think it's part of an American problem. You go to Europe and they have Carrara marble countertops, and they embrace the stains and the etching and all of that.
They do.
They embrace it. They just say, oh yeah, that was a party we had and that was great, But in America, we want everything perfect. I always say Americans want to buy a black car and park it outside and get mad when it gets dirty, right? So I think that's why very few marble countertops are stunning in a kitchen. And somebody made a comment. Jeffrey said that it can dissolve with citrus and lemons. And it can. It's not going to dissolve. It just etches, right? I think if you're going to specify marble for a kitchen, you have to really discuss it with the client and let them know what it's going to be. It's not going to stay perfect. It's going to evolve. But like Chelly was saying, this kitchen is Cambria quartz, and it looks like marble. It actually has it looks more like Calcutta marble. It has that gold veining through it.
Beautiful. Yeah, it's nice that people can afford Calcutta, the look of Calcutta without paying the price. That's one thing that's so nice about some of the quartz that are out there.
Yeah, here we got a comment in the Midwest. Marble's not used much because of expense and maintenance. Quartz and granite are still the primary go-tos. What's sintered stone? You guys familiar with that?
Oh yeah, that's like Decton. Yeah. Yeah.
Like what?
It's porcelain. It's
Oh.
large slab porcelain,
Got it.
huge, like massive slabs. That's a cool product. It's a great product. You just need to make sure that the client understands the sound it's going to have, because it has that high pitch sound that does affect an aging population. It's a very high, all you have to do is take a porcelain tile and rub a coffee cup on it, and you hear this high-pitched sound. And that's something, as a designer, you need to make sure your client knows about it.
Interesting.
But here's the best part about it. You can do anything to it. You can put hot things on it. You can clean it with whatever you want. It's the coolest, most durable product out there. It's amazing. It is, oh my gosh. You put it outside, nothing happens to it. It's like the most durable thing in the world.
Yes, I just used it in an outdoor kitchen. I mean, I think with an outdoor kitchen, hands down, it's the best material.
The best. All right,
Absolutely.
That's awesome. That's good to know.
Yeah. Yes.
Back, just to step back a second, Newell saying gray cabinets are popular, and Jeff was just saying gray is the new beige. So that's kind of a fun statement. I'd actually like to make a comment about gray. I think it depends upon the type color of gray. Mm-hmm. So you need to be aware that, there's warm grays and cool grays, right? In the Pacific Northwest, where the majority, today it's like the most gorgeous day in the Pacific Northwest. It's beautiful, it's warm, it's gorgeous. But cool grays don't work. Gray doesn't work really well in the Pacific Northwest because the majority of the year our skies are gray, right? So it's used as an accent, or like it is used here with a gold undertone. Okay. And I think a good designer needs to pay attention to gray as where you are in the world. Like if you're in the South where it's sunny and beautiful all the time, you could use gray forever because you want that coolness inside because it's hot all the time, right? It's just, you have to pay attention. You can't just say gray because there's a huge variation of gray. So it's kind of like there's a few different colors of white too, I believe, right?
Yeah, just a few.
few million.
I think gray's so popular because it's people see it in the media a lot, and so clients ask for it. I get a lot of clients asking for gray, but I do usually try to either have it be like more of a taupey gray or a dark gray so that there's some contrast, or a blue gray. Blue gray is very popular here.
Well, there's an example of some gray in the backsplash.
Yeah.
That really stands out nicely.
Yeah, it's a blue gray. I wish I showed you the other side, because if you looked into the living room, the walls are like this bright cerulean blue. It's amazing. It's so incredible. So it looks really cool. But this view is pretty much a white and gray kitchen. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
So Chelly, here's the trend we were talking about. And Dan showed us something earlier. What's your opinion about white cabinets? Are they in or out?
Well, speaking from somebody, I do a lot of vintage homes, a lot of older homes. And, I don't think white will ever go out of style. I mean, we are mixing it up now because it's paint. So cabinets can be painted and doing maybe two-toned, but there's white is very, very popular. And again, because of where we are in the Pacific Northwest, people want brighter colors, but it's just classic. I mean, I think traditional with a twist, right? If you mix it up, but I think it's beautiful.
I agree.
I don't agree. I mean, I think maybe the white floors, the white walls is super minimalist, clean white kitchens. Maybe that's waning a little bit, but in an older home, I think they're going to.
You see that. Would that be more of a contemporary style with lots of white and clean lines and all that stuff versus? Okay, there you go. So there's a great example of mixing it up. And
that marble is to die for. This kitchen blows my mind, Chelly. It's probably one of the coolest things I've ever seen. It just blows my mind.
Little condo kitchen, and it was so funny because when they built a bunch of these condominiums, high rises in the South Waterfront here, back, I guess, in the early 2000s or whatever. And they all had, it was 2008 because it was when we had the Great Recession. And so they dumbed down all the cabinetry. All the cabinetry was going in, and they decided they had to do it cheaper to finish them out. So they ended up putting these terrible, like dark wood laminate cabinets in all these condos. So that's what we took out of here. But yeah, this just really brightened it up. And yeah, my favorite feature in this, and this is something I learned when I went out shopping with Robin one day, is about that Cerused oak. So I just love that.
It's all in here. This whole thing is Cerused oak, and it's just gorgeous. I didn't know that. That's actually kind of cool.
Yeah, and I included the slide because one thing that I wanted to point out in this slide is that even when you have a super minimalist design, I think texture is a big thing that we're seeing a lot of these days. And so that was the idea with that island countertop. And then with the Cerused oak is to bring some texture into this space.
But here's the other trend that we're seeing is the cabinets are painted high gloss. I'm doing so much more high gloss laminates, high gloss paint finishes.
Yeah.
And these cabinets are a high gloss. You just had a really good photographer.
Yeah.
I love the light fixtures in this kitchen too. Oh my gosh, those are just gorgeous.
The LED lighting. I mean, light was actually the first thing when the client was interviewing me. She says, "What do you know about lighting?" And I said, "I know good people that know a lot about lighting."
There you go.
That's kind of my job, is bringing people together. So, but yeah, so I did actually have a lighting person come out and help specify the LED and the color, temperature, and all that stuff for the space.
So you're seeing a lot more LED? I mean, is everything LED these days?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I would never do anything without that. Integrated LEDs, right? That's all we're doing nowadays.
Yeah, unless it's like an older home and there's a traditional fixture or something like that. But I do specify LED lamps. But lots of under cabinet lighting for sure. On dimmers, so it needs to be a good quality that can be dimmed. Mm-hmm.
How about waterfall countertops that we see there? Are those pretty popular?
Yeah.
Pardon?
The waterfall countertops, is that all the rage?
Yeah, so I'm glad you mentioned that because I see a mix in it. I mean, it's expensive to do, so a lot of times it's something that gets eliminated from my projects, to be honest, if it is something that works. I mean, I like to see it where it works. Like I think in here, in this kitchen, it's very contemporary and I think it works, but I don't think it's appropriate for every kitchen.
Is that a quartz?
Kind of like live edge wood, right, Chelly?
That's a natural stone.
That's natural. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen some of those waterfalls where they've actually matched the pattern going around.
Yeah.
Each side. Just really phenomenal.
Yeah.
Well, that's the way this is done. The pattern runs off the edge. It's really stunning. I mean, you have to have a good countertop person.
Yeah.
I think waterfall edges as a trend are like the live edge wood. Like it should have a purpose, not just because it's trendy. Like in here, it has a beautiful, it has a purpose to it. It really gives this really nice shape to the room, and you repeated it with the cerusing around the range and sink wall, but it doesn't work just because, it's like, there's a difference in one of the things that Chelly and I discussed is that trends are legacy, right? Trends go in and out, right? They come and they go.
Mm-hmm.
But things like this is going to be a classic aesthetic, right? As long as it's done well. So there was something that Susie and Jeffrey said. Jeffrey made a comment about doing dark lowers with white uppers, and I totally agree with you. That's really great for the person who actually uses their kitchen. And not to say anything bad about this kitchen at all, because I think it's stunning. I could not cook in that kitchen.
She doesn't cook. Yeah. The homeowner does not cook. She said, because I don't cook.
Exactly. So a white kitchen is gorgeous because it's always going to look like this.
That's how I got the minimum hood and everything. Yeah. That's so funny.
Exactly.
That's part of that's part of your job, is to design the kitchen for the person that's using it. And if they're not going to use their kitchen, might as well make it a piece of art, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Somebody mentioned about the countertops just now, the countertop height being 36. And I find that too, very rarely do we do the 42-inch high now, unless we're trying to hide the countertop or something from the other
cooktop or the sink or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with that statement.
absolutely. Yeah. Not doing those kind of bars anymore. This is a detail of that beautiful kitchen. It's so beautiful.
And
is that glass tile on the back?
It is glass tile. It's really beautiful. It kind of got this marble look to it, which was, again, trying to bring in some light because it's a condo. There's only light on one wall, right, one side of it. And then also just to bring in the texture. And then I think the reason I chose that slide is to show the integrated flush appliances. That's another trend that I see in more modern. So, to get that countertop, that cooktop completely flushed like that in that oven.
That is really cool.
Something that I had to set out to do. I went to my appliance guy and I said, okay, this is exactly what I need. It's got to be completely flush. And then, I let the countertop fabricator know and the cabinet guy. And, you kind of have to tell them ahead of time, what your design intent is. To get that done. And I was really happy. And then if you scroll up a little bit, you can see that hood, I'm seeing a lot of this lately too, and doing a number of these kind of sheetrock wrapped hoods to just sort of hide them. So I see this a lot. I did this in this more modern kitchen, but I do it a lot like in more of a farmhouse style, if you will. That's a really popular request that I have lately, is to conceal the hood and just have it look like plaster, maybe, so.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So as you were saying, Reno, Nevada, we're seeing straight grain white oak trending for cabinets, more porcelain than granite.
Chelly has that beautiful kitchen here that she did in that straight grain white oak.
Yeah,
look at that.
I love it. I agree. I love it. I'm seeing that as an option too. And this floor is oak too, but it's got more, grain to it. But this floor is very popular too, sort of kind of a gray washed, lighter oak color. So seeing that a lot of that trending now.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. And this again is mixing the textures, and so those are white gloss cabinets, laminate cabinets, and then that marble countertop and backsplash, which has been very, very popular. But I mean, hopefully this will stay around for a while.
So Angela's asking, sorry, she's late. Can that oak you were talking about earlier, I think?
Oh, Cerused.
Oh, I'll show that to you. That's
So Robin and I went to a furniture cabinet maker studio, and they were doing a table or something in Cerused oak. And I'm like, what is that? It's so beautiful. And so I was looking for a while for an opportunity to use it. And it was inspired by the island countertop. So cerusing is a finishing technique that exposes the grain on the oak. You can't, I had to go to the best painter I knew in town. Anyway, they wanted glossy painted cabinets anyway. So in order to get that.
I just Googled Cerused oak, which is CERUSED. Cerused.
Yeah,
that's correct.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
It was started in the 1920s by John Franck. In France, and mostly it's typically black, and then they put a whitewash over it.
Oh, sure.
You have to do it on a very exposed grain, so oak is like the best for it. So they stain it and then they whitewash it, and it's ridiculously amazing. It's a gorgeous, classic, elegant aesthetic. It's bold. It goes back to the whole concept of using texture as a design element that really brightens up a room and changes it. I mean, this kitchen that Chelly has on the board here is all, I mean, if it was just all white and she finished it out with white, there'd be nothing to the room. It would just disappear. So going back to trends, it's about using things in a way that turns it into a classic, elegant thing or becomes legacy, as opposed to becoming something that's a flash in the pan, like in and out. Right. So I always go back to the live oak look, which the live edge wood countertop, which became like a ridiculous trend. And it just became like, why are we doing this? And it didn't have a purpose. It just was something, oh, and let's add that in. It was like Disneyland. Let's just add it in. It's going to go there. Instead of saying, I'm putting that in for a very specific reason. And then it's beautiful and it's classic and it'll last and it'll be around. It just has to be done right, you know?
Or like if you have the right style of home, like, you know, a lodge or style home or mountain home or something like that. I mean, it was very popular here in the Pacific Northwest. But you know, when you're doing an industrial design or something like that, it makes sense. But just to use it just because it's a trend, it might not be right for every application.
So, Susie, back to that comment about, you know, get to know your client. Your first question, you know, just takeout or working kitchen. So
Takeout.
Yeah.
She wanted to take out. She goes,
that.
I don't cook.
Uh-huh.
I love
Like, I don't cook. I don't care. But she still
I'm gonna
did some pretty nice, you know, Sub-Zero, Mila, you know, really nice brands because she wanted to. She likes good things. So
Cool. All right, Robin, what do you got?
This is Chelly's
next?
tiny. Chelly lives in this beautiful little house in a lovely part of Portland, and her kitchen is teeny. It's just the tiniest little space, and I love what you did. It's a really old house. It was like old for Portland, you guys. The people live in Chicago and on the East Coast. Portland's really a new city. So old for Portland is like 1910. Okay,
this was 25. Mine is 1925. Okay. So it's almost 100 years old.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Those windows are all original glass. They've got the wavy glass in them.
Oh, nice.
I love that. And that arch was there. And everyone said, because it's a small kitchen, I had so many people saying, oh, you need to remove that wall. You need to remove that wall. And I said, are you kidding? This is my favorite feature here. Uh-huh. So, you know, so how can I modernize the space and make it useful? We definitely cook. And I mean, now I say we, before it was mostly just me, other than my husband liked to make steak and macaroni and cheese out of a box. But now he's cooking all the time and enjoying it. And so I wanted to do something that went with the character of the house. There's a lot of character moldings and such. But
is that floor original?
No. So the floor that this kitchen was terribly remodeled before, kind of a big box special. And they put those little vinyl composition tiles, but didn't glue them right. So they were coming up and, you know, it was just really bad. And it was originally a fir floor we found underneath, and they tried to paint it red and they did a bad job. And so they put this red vinyl composition tile. So I was struggling with it because I wanted to use sustainable materials as well. And I have a top nailed white oak floor in the rest of the house. So I decided to just mix it up and go with something sustainable. This is wood that's from, it's reclaimed wood, which is a big trend, which we hope sticks around. Made from Mexican shipping crates. It's a, it's a, what do they say? It's a tropical oak, and it's called fishtail oak. So there's a lot of texture in it. And we thought, you know, what's our theme for this? So this is one way I get around trends with my clients is, you know, we try to come up with a concept or a theme for each space. And you know, I interviewed my husband and I said, he goes, I want this to be a functional kitchen. We're always going to have dogs. We're not the most, you know, we forget to take our shoes off. We're just, you know, we just like to live in our house. So let's get something that's already a little bit beat up and not worry about it. And so we did that, and it's really pretty. I think it brings in some richness to the space, to the otherwise black and white scheme.
That is cool.
But here's the cool thing is that typically would be in this house is white painted cabinets. And Chelly didn't do white painted cabinets in here. And I love
on the uppers and talls are white painted. And they're flush inset. So then it's like a dark charcoal. And because I wanted to paint the windows just to give it some pop. That's a big trend now too. I noticed. I did this kitchen like 4 years ago, but it's still black windows are really popular.
I'm seeing that a lot too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anybody else
seeing
that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, it's that farmhouse look. And people are wanting to do steel windows instead of using wood or aluminum or wood or vinyl.
Yeah, fiberglass.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But what I love about this space,
too. Sorry.
What I love about this space, what I love about this space is how this is an old house. It's a Tudor style house. And I think that even though she incorporated some contemporary ideas of painting the cabinets darker, it still has a very classic, elegant look, right? And I especially love that you did these really contemporary modern chairs, right? It just changes it up and gives it this really classic, elegant feel. And this is using mid-century modern design chairs, right?
Yeah.
And which is a trendy thing, but it's also a classic shape. It's a very classic shape. And painting the cabinets dark and doing the windows dark, even though it's considered a trendy thing, I feel that you created something that is really classic and elegant. I don't feel that you did something that is on trend. I feel like this kitchen is going to age really well. So that becomes legacy. That becomes classic. It's not a trendy space. Nobody's going to walk in here and go, oh yeah, 2021, Chelly remodeled her kitchen, right?
I hope not, because
right?
to do it again.
Isn't that called timeless? Something like that?
Absolutely.
That's my goal.
And that's the focus on things. The other thing that we talk about trends, and I love this wallpaper, I think it's great, is designing for, both Chelly and I are CLIP certified, which is a certified living in place specialist. And it's all about, we don't use the term aging in place anymore, and we don't use the term ADA for residential. ADA is not a residential thing. It's only a commercial thing.
Oh, okay.
So we really refer to living in place. We really think about a good designer looks at a bathroom and a kitchen for how the person is going to live in the house from when they're able-bodied, young, 20, 30, 40 years old, to where as they get older. And we can do it in a way that is successful and beautiful and classic. This is fun. I mean, the wallpaper might change later on, but she put in a wall-mounted toilet, and the advantage of a wall-mounted toilet is you can set it at the correct height for your client. Mm-hmm. I'm only 5'4", so between 5'4" and 5'5". And universal height toilets are too tall for me. They do not work, right? So with this kind of a toilet, we can set the height so it's appropriate for your client. Exactly. And you can do beautiful things like adding a good grab bar that's also functional. This one might be a little bit more grab bar-y looking, but and I'm going to show you another kitchen where we incorporate grab bars in a more functional, in a different way that don't look so grab bar-y, but that could have easily been a bar installed on that wall that could have been just as functional. Right?
She loved that. Just the whole functionality of it. It folds back, and it holds the toilet paper. So this client was so much fun. So that's a smart toilet. She knew she wanted a smart toilet, and it's, one of the top of the line ones, does everything, which is hilarious because every trade contractor that went in there after it was installed were like, wait, what? Because they kept making the seat go up and down, and they had a great time with it. But I wanted to show this slide to talk about smart toilets because they're really something that a lot of people are asking for these days. And I'm suggesting them. Every toilet I do now, every bathroom I do, I ask the client if they're interested in a bidet seat. And at the very least, I specify an outlet by it so that they can have one in the future.
Absolutely.
And then the wallpaper, and then, talking about trends for, doing trends for your client. The client actually wanted gray in this bathroom, and the floor is gray, but she handed me a bag of, we did a special like hidden cat box in this bathroom. And she actually handed me a bag of her kitty litter and said, go find a matching tile floor, because she didn't want kitty litter showing. So I love that. So, trends are trends, but also designing for your client is really really important. And she just loves color. We did 27 different colors in this condo or something crazy like that.
What's the advantage of a
fabulous.
smart toilet? Why
Oh
would
my
someone
gosh.
want one?
Oh my gosh.
Hygiene. Well, there's
Yeah.
a couple things. So for living in place, if let's say that you have mobility issues or something like that, so it's very sanitary for cleaning, whether you're assisting somebody or they're trying to clean themselves. So it's a hygienic issue. Less paper, and just cleanliness. I mean, I think it's. I think that's a big part of it. And then comfort, they've got a heated seat. And then some of them have Robin probably knows more of the technical part of it, but I think they automatically clean and things like that.
They do. So
Nice.
we have a Toto toilet, a dual flush Toto bidet seat toilet, which I highly recommend. Here's the best parts about it. It's a 1 gallon flush. So it's a dual flush. So it's 1 gallon for solid waste and 0.8 gallons for liquid waste, which is amazing use of water. It actually sprays the inside of the toilet with a, you have to be careful of how you clean it. You can't use any kind of bleach products. You can't use anything abrasive on the inside of it because these toilets have a coating on the inside that makes things move easier down the drain. So you don't have skid marks. But what ends up happening in the toilet is before you walk up to the toilet, as soon as it recognizes that somebody's coming into the space, it sprays this product on the surface of the toilet. So that way it's setting you up. So when you use it, everything slides down better. So, and they're just, it's an expensive option.
How expensive are they?
I'm going to say you can get at the lower end with the toilet and the seat about $1,300 up to $5,000, which is
Yeah,
crazy.
this one was in the higher end retail. I think 5,000.
Retail.
It was less.
But one of the things about these kind of toilets goes into living in place. One of the reasons why people have to move out of their home is because they can't take care of themselves, meaning they can't clean themselves. This is a space where somebody can live in their home for a longer period of time because they can clean themselves. This helps you. So it's not just a luxury item. It is something that helps with the health of your body. This is actually a functional item that actually is an asset to your house. It's a health benefit.
Nice.
It's an expensive health benefit, and it's definitely not for everybody.
Right.
But it's really stunning, and it's a really great option.
And saying that because this is a retired client, she's not elderly or anything yet, but she loves color and she wants what she wants, and she's planning on staying here for as long as she can. She lives in a condo. There's elevators in the building. Everything that she needs, she feels like she needs. So we did a 0 clearance shower for her. We're lucky we were able to slope the floor to do that. And the color. So it's like we talk about trends, this is pretty trendy wallpaper, but she loves it, so it's not like we had to plan for resale or anything like that. So
I'm going to show you this is a project that we did. Again, this is all about like that living in place concept. This is a project for a couple. He has, I think, Parkinson's. Anyway, a mobility issue. And we were able to do a 0 clearance shower with a linear drain. Those are definitely a product that is really becoming popular and used a lot more. But the best part about this is we incorporated a grab bar on the back of the shower. So there's a fixed shower head on one side, but closer to the bench, which you can see in this picture on the right-hand side, there is a handheld shower, but instead of putting it on the bar that comes with the handheld shower, which is not a grab bar, we used a product by Jack Lowe, but a lot of companies have these where it's a grab bar with a handle that holds the handheld shower on it, and then the shower, you can adjust it up and down. But the reality is the bathroom is the most dangerous room in the house, and falls happen in bathrooms. So having a grab bar in there only makes sense. The other thing that we're doing a lot more in bathrooms is moving the shower valve away from underneath the shower head. So if you notice on the image on the right-hand side in the middle, the shower valve is right when you open the door, you can turn the water on.
Right.
And then the one for the handheld shower is just behind this wall where you can turn the water on and not get into the shower. So there's some really lovely benefits that we're doing more. That's a big trend. Steam showers are a huge trend. I'm doing a ton of steam showers now, which they're so fabulous. Going back into that health benefit. The other thing that's really lovable, fabulous about a steam shower is environmentally. A steam shower, although it does cost more, you can take a 20-minute steam shower and use less than 3 gallons of water.
Nice.
Which is amazing.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. The other trend too, Chelly made the comment about designing for pets. Chelly made a comment about designing for pets with matching I love that you matched the kitty litter for the floor. That is like the funniest, most brilliant thing. It's a great ad, right?
Yeah.
This is a project that we did a while ago for a couple that had 3 Italian greyhounds, and they had one that was like a mooch, would eat anything. So we actually installed this gate for the dogs that goes into the dining room, and we capped the gate with stainless steel so when they jumped up, they wouldn't scratch the wood.
Wow.
And then we used rain glass so that way the textured part was in the dining room, but the smooth part was in the kitchen. So when their little noses made mess all over it, it wouldn't be messy. So we designed, so it didn't look bad, right? So it hid all the nose prints. Yeah, so that's a big thing now. It's like thinking about not just it's thinking about everybody. That's a trend, is thinking about how everybody lives in the home. So we're now designing for pets, which is crazy, right?
I did one of those hidden things for a client who had adopted a really obese cat. So we had to be able to put the food away.
Yeah.
That's hysterical.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Pets are part of the family these days. So of course they always have been, but more so than ever. And so I can see where a lot of people are going to take really good care of their pets and include them in the project.
Absolutely. I love this project that you did, Chelly. This one's so cool.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, this is a basement conversion in a prairie style home. And the clients were just super eclectic and really fun. And yeah, it's an incredible project. But we decided to go with an industrial theme for the basement, and that's why I included this. I feel like the industrial trend is waning a little bit, but it still works in certain areas, and I felt like this was a good one to include because we're still getting the wood, wall kind of accent requests and the exposed plumbing parts for the shelves and the exposed sink and the refrigerator on wheels, and then of course the barn door. So that goes to the family room.
Actually, in a basement, it's not trendy because you have exposed pipes. I mean,
exactly.
And you have exposed ceilings. So
yeah, they wanted to the ceiling open to, get the head height and all that kind of stuff. So it kind of works. It does. Yeah.
I think it works incredibly well. It's perfect for this location, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So are barn doors still pretty popular?
Yes.
I mean, they seem like they have been for a long time.
Yeah. A lot of people say, barn doors are out or whatever. But I think the concept of a sliding door is a really useful thing, and have it, on the outside of the wall in certain applications, so it doesn't have to look so barn doory. It can just be a sliding door. And in fact, I used one in the bedroom in this basement because there was an electrical panel in the bedroom, in the guest room. And I wanted to be able to hide the electrical panel. So I did a sliding door over it, kind of thing. I wish I had a picture of it because it was pretty cool. Because I found an old, it said danger. It was a metal door and it said danger, electricity. I found it from a salvage place and put it on there.
Oh.
I mean, it was just perfect because it was, appropriate. But anyway, it would kind of close off some of the light on the window at night if you wanted to, or slide over to hide the electrical panel.
Nice.
I think barn doors work in a lot of applications. Just don't put them on a bathroom door. They do not work.
Right. Because
Yeah.
privacy.
There's no security. There's no security or privacy or sound.
Yeah.
Home offices are a huge thing now. This is Chelly's home office. Isn't this the greatest space ever?
That's nice.
Yeah, I'm not in it now.
This is designing. We have to pay attention. I think more and more and more businesses are going to allow their employees to stay home and work. And we need to think about that. Creating spaces, they don't have to be as big as this. I mean, this is a basement, right? But they have to be, we have to think about it. And we can put home offices in locations where we have to think more about how they are private and that they are a place that are out of the way. They don't have to be huge for most people, but we really do have to plan for that.
And I think that for me, for the concept for this, for my own practical use, was to have a flexible space. So there's 2 pieces of gym equipment in there. They're not here for the photograph, but we have a treadmill and a spin bike down there. And as well as the built-ins that I did, I made them 26 inches deep so that because I do have an older house and lack of closet space, so we can actually hang clothes or seasonal clothes or something like that. Of course, right now it's filled with all my samples, but eventually if this ever gets converted to something else or whatever, there's extra storage space down there. So just wanted to kind of illustrate that. And also a trend that I'm seeing and that I embrace in kind of like the last basement too, is that, if you want to have a little different style that's maybe not so appropriate for your house. So I made this very modern and minimalist because I just wanted that so I could have a blank slate when I'm creating and not have like jarring maximalist design all around me or anything like that. So that's the reason why.
It's like you're going to the office,
Like I'm going to the office. It fits in, you saw my kitchen, so you can tell kind of the black and white and gray. It fits in. And then the wallpaper again, which is definitely a big trend.
The mural that you've got there?
Yeah.
You've seen that more?
Not necessarily the mural. I haven't seen that a lot, but definitely wallpaper and having a feature wall, and when I want to, I can change that out to be like a giant blown up flower bouquet or whatever, we decide to do. But wallpaper is something that I see a lot of these days.
So that bridge that you've got there,
it's an Art Deco, so it does, it's the same era as my home.
Okay.
It's the St. John's Bridge. So it goes over the Columbia River over to St. John's. Is it Columbia River right there?
Yeah, it's a Columbia.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Columbia River. Yeah,
or an offshoot of the Columbia River. It's not the
it's not. It's the Willamette, I think.
Oh, okay.
Oh my gosh. Seriously, fail geography in Portland.
We have a lot of bridges, and that's the test to live here.
There you go. Yeah.
If you know the bridges, you're good. This
Pocket
one's
offices.
an iconic bridge, and Chelly had that made for her office. It's an iconic Portland bridge. It's just gorgeous. It's been photographed
You can
so much.
pick any picture and have it blown up. It's pretty amazing what you can do these days. That's what I did.
Nice.
So Chelly, one of the things that we talked about is the big trend that we hear is that the open floor plan is gone. What do you think about that?
Do you want to scroll down to my last image there?
Oh, yeah, this one here.
I figured it was appropriate for me to put one of my chief renderings.
There you go.
And so this is not a project that it hasn't even started yet. It's getting ready to start probably in May or June. And it's a mid-century house, and there are walls everywhere in this space right now. So we're opening it up and vaulting the ceiling and making the windows taller, and they want black windows. I wanted to show that, and combination of wood and painted cabinets and floating shelves, so there was a lot of trendy things that are happening in this that I want to show, but I think are appropriate for the era of the home. But one of the, things that I read a lot on blogs these days is like the open concept is on its way out, and what's in. And, because of COVID, I guess people are thinking that they need to separate, but I don't know that that's ever going to be the case. I think open concept is here to stay, and that more what people are doing is finding other rooms, other places to have study areas and office areas, because I don't think that's going away. I think there'll be more homeschooling over the next, in the future, and then more people working from home. So it's more about carving out space within the space, or even having workspaces. So I'm doing a lot of like USB outlets and islands and stuff like that, so people can move around and work. I mean, that's what I do. I'm in my dining room right now, and sometimes I work downstairs, sometimes I work in the dining room, sometimes I'm on the couch, so.
I think Bill Murray made a comment. Bill Murray, I think, made the comment, the phrase that I'm going to use all the time are pocket offices. I love that phrase, the pocket office.
Yeah.
I think it's just brilliant, because most people are not like you and I, the three of us, where you're designing and you need like all this crazy stuff. My office I put in a few years ago, I put in a small office in my backyard years ago. Thank God. I did it way before COVID. And I hate the phrase, the she shed. Some contractor came over yesterday and called it a she shed. I'm like, no, this is a working office, dude. It's the
Yeah.
But I really hate that phrase. But I do have a small office that's in my backyard, which I love. I love that. But I do love the phrase, and I need it because, as a designer, I have samples everywhere and, products everywhere, right? But a lot of techies just need their laptop. They don't need a lot, and they can have a small office created. I think the thing about offices, though, when we're designing that, it goes on to this whole open space. You have to just design a space in a way that you can create quiet spaces. We have to realize that people need to get away from other people. And I think we notice that more and more with COVID happening. But even if you have the big open space, you have to create smaller spaces for people to go to, right? And I love that little pocket office name. I think I'm going to use that. I'm going to steal that from you, Bill. I think it's great.
Yeah.
So, and speaking of other buildings, ADUs are pretty popular now. Accessory dwelling units. I mean, that's a really big trend that I'm seeing everywhere, especially in the bigger cities that are, they're looking to add more space for people to live.
Yeah.
They're out of land. So
they're big here. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Huge here. Yeah. They're really big. They're really big. Yeah.
Yeah. Where I'm at in Minneapolis too, they've added that and reclassified some of the zoning and set, all of that kind of stuff. So that's keep an eye on that. That's going to be a big, I don't know, whatever specialty maybe might be the word for it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people. Well, that goes into certain things like thinking about downsizing, right? That's another trend, right? Maybe not ADU size, but my husband and I downsized. We have 3 kids. When the 2 oldest ones moved out, we had a house that's about 2,800 square feet. We wanted to see how small we could live, and we moved into 900 square feet with 1 teenager, a boxer, a big dog. It was too small. Trust me, 900 square feet for 3 people with a dog, and my husband's a stand-up bass player. There's not enough room. That was not enough room. So we have moved into a 1,400 square foot house. So our house is smaller. My old kitchen was huge, and it was designed with big appliances and everything. Now we're using smaller appliances. So I have an 18-inch dishwasher instead of a 24-inch dishwasher. There's 3 people live in my house. We still only run our dishwasher every day and a half, even though we're eating 3 meals a day at home, right? So looking at appliances differently is something that I think people are starting to realize you don't need the big thing. You can use things that are smaller, like smaller appliances. Using things like steam ovens is a big opportunity for living in a smaller situation and still not sacrificing the functionality of a full-size oven. You're not going to cook a 26-pound turkey, but in a house that's only 1,400 square feet, you're not going to have that many people over.
Right. So, all right,
so
cool.
looking at appliances differently.
Well, we're about out of time here. This was fun. We could probably talk for another couple hours about trends and different ideas. But this has been really, really cool. Thank you guys for being on here and sharing that information and some of the projects that you've done. Everybody on the call, feel free to head over to their website, to their house accounts, and check out some of the projects. And you guys do a fabulous job. I mean, God, it's just, it's pretty cool. And I'm glad you're keeping busy, and it's easy to see why. So,
Thank you.
Awesome. All right. So you guys have any last words for everybody?
No, just have fun designing. It's a good time. There's some fun things to do now. Great products and more open clients.
Yeah.
Money seems to be, cash flow seems to be there for a lot of people. So just got to find those people. So,
absolutely.
Yep.
Thank you, Dan.
All right, you guys.
Lovely seeing you, Shelley.
For
Take
everybody,
care, you
thanks
guys.
for joining us, and we'll catch you guys later.
Okay.
Bye
Have
now.
a great night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.